All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, March 18th meeting of the Southeastern Massachusetts Metropolitan Planning Organization. Uh, my name is Derek Schuster from MassDOT's Office of Transportation Planning. I will be chairing today's meeting. Could you please call the roll?
MassDOT Chair,
Derek Schuster chairing on behalf of MassDOT Secretary and CEO Monica Tibbetts not here.
Attleboro,
Kathleen D. Smolin, Mayor here.
thank you. Fall River,
Dan Aguirre for Mayor Paul Coogan.
New Bedford,
Jamie Pont representing Mayor John Mitchell.
Taunton,
Jay Patikis here representing the mayor.
MassDOT Administrator,
Richard Bilski representing Administrator Gulliver.
Mansfield, Fairhaven, Carver, Westport, SRPEDD Commission Chair. Marie's here, but I don't know if she can hear us yet. SRTA.
Here, I'm here.
Oh, thanks, Marie. SRTA.
Shane Trimble representing Administrator Eric Rousseau.
And GATRA.
Mary Ellen DeFry is here.
Thank you. All set, Derek.
Thank you. I'd like to check if our ex officio members from FHWA or FTA are present as well.
Oops.
Hey everybody, Joshua Barber here at Federal Highway Administration.
Thanks, Joshua. Okay. Our next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the February 18th MPO meeting. Are there any comments or noted corrections for the minutes? Hearing none, could I please have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second, New Bedford.
Thank you. Andrea, please call the roll.
MassDOT Chair,
Yes.
Attleboro,
Abstain, I was not present.
thank you. Fall River,
Yes.
thank you. New Bedford,
Yes.
Taunton, Taunton. Who's Jay? MassDOT Administrator.
Abstain.
Thank you. SRPEDD Commission Chair.
Yeah, I mean, yes, duh. Yes.
Thank you. SRTA.
Yes.
GATRA.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment. At this time, we'd like to invite members of the public to make public comment. Please use the raise hand feature if you'd like to make a comment at this time. Seeing none from the public at this time, if anyone from the public has questions or comment they'd like to make during the meeting, just please use the raise hand feature and the chair will call on you. Next item on today's agenda is for Regional Transit Authority's report. Are we starting with GATRA or SRTA on this?
I can start. So there's this little thing called South Coast Rail that's apparently starting on Monday. And we are realigning some of our internal routes to make sure that we can meet the new trains and that we are covering Middleborough with the changes that are happening there. We'll also be realigning. There's some other time changes that are happening on some of the other routes. So we are paying attention to that and adjusting as necessary. On another front, I have informed my board and we will discuss at the board meeting tomorrow. We will be pausing our electric program at this point due to the uncertainty of federal funding. We are going to just hold with the assets that we have in place right now and wait and see what is going to happen. So we are switching over at this point to the purchase of diesel buses because I still need to purchase assets to keep service on the road. We will also be maintaining current levels of service for the next fiscal year. I don't see any expansion other than the potential of expanding the Sunday service if the union contract works out for us. And those are the updates that we have from GATRA.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. I have a question before we move on to SRTA. Does the draft project list for GATRA and the 26 to 30 draft tip reflect preserving diesel-powered buses versus electrification?
As far as I know, we had diesels in there anyway because I needed the next round to be diesels for our service area. We may still have one electric bus in the out years that we haven't pulled yet, but everything that we've ordered is on the tip.
Okay. Just make sure to work with MPO staff and MassDOT Rail and Transit Division so that the draft list they're preparing for release next month reflects the truest to what you're anticipating.
I would say at this point, it's as best as it's going to be, unless you know something that we don't know. But what we're hearing is don't put in electric buses into your grants. So we didn't.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for GATRA? Hearing none. Shane?
Thank you. SRTA is also anticipating the start of the South Coast Rail next week. However, we won't be starting our microtransit connector service probably for at least a week after. With the advancement of the start date, it really put us into a scramble with our vendor to get everything online. They've done a great job getting us to this point, but it was a big lift to try and get it launched for Monday. We all knew that it wasn't going to happen, so we're working our best to get it on the road as quickly as possible. So we're anticipating the following Monday, so it'd be 2 weeks out as the start date, but that hasn't been firmed up yet. We just have to kind of go over some final details with our vendor. So keep your eyes open for that. In the meantime, we will be our routes already serve the New Bedford downtown station and the Fall River station. So, we will have bus service to the train. We're happy to provide that. And that's about it here.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for SRTA at this time? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to our next agenda item. Proposed amendment number 2 for the FFY 25 to 29 tip. GATRA FY25 project cost modifications due to readiness. Is this Jackie or is this Mary Ellen?
It's Lisa.
Lisa, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lisa.
That's all right. No worries, Derek. Thank you. So, proposed amendment number 2 to the federal fiscal year 25 to 29 tip was presented to this body at last month's meeting. It involves moving out 2 projects and downsizing 3 projects to accommodate a bus replacement and the East Maintenance Facility for GATRA, which was pushed out 1 year to federal fiscal year 26. We held a public meeting on March 6th. We did not receive any comments at that meeting or otherwise. We are asking this body to take a vote to endorse this proposed amendment today.
Thank you, Lisa. Any questions or comments?
Okay.
Hearing none, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Made Fall River, seconded Fall River.
Okay. Andrea, please call the roll.
MassDOT Chair,
Yes.
Attleboro,
Yes.
Fall River,
Yes.
New Bedford,
Yes.
Taunton,
Yes.
MassDOT Administrator,
Yes.
SRPEDD Commission Chair,
Yes.
SRTA,
Yes.
and GATRA.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda, item 6, is FFY 25 Unified Planning Work Program Proposed Amendment number 1. Is this
That's
Lisa?
me.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I'm all the way through like item, let's see, number 9. So I'll just keep going, Derek. So once again, proposed amendment to the federal fiscal year 2025 Unified Planning Work Program was also presented to this body at last month's meeting and was released to a 21-day comment period. This amendment is to include the age-friendly regional plan. The start of the data collection efforts for this. We plan on continuing our efforts and having a final plan hopefully in hand in federal fiscal year 26. This was in response when we developed our regional transportation plan. We saw that our population is aging. So we thought it would be a good time to start planning more for that in this plan. So we are shifting funds from 2 tasks to accommodate for the plan in our active transportation task. Funds are coming from our 3C process and our transit planning and support process tasks. Those are currently being underspent, and we can certainly do the work that is outlined in the UPWP with the funding that will be there after this change takes effect. So we are asking this body to take a vote to endorse this amendment today.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Lisa at this time? Yes, Mary or Marie.
I know we've talked about it before, but since these are all federal funds, are they funds that we have in hand or funds that you expect to draw from?
That's an excellent question. So the FFY 2025 Unified Planning Work Program was forward funded with metropolitan planning dollars at the end of fiscal year 2024. So this is from an existing contract to the Southeast Mass to SRPEDD for transportation planning work. So it's a proposed amendment and change of the tasks that they would be performing and how much for those tasks.
Right, but you know, the where are we? Contract budget with Federal Highway Administration, Federal Transit, federal. And yes, I know it's through MassDOT, but my concern is that there are lots of other federally funded programs that suddenly are not going to be receiving any more funds. So I just want to make sure that we've got them. And you're saying we've got them front loaded from the state, so we don't have to worry about it. But is the state anticipating being reimbursed by the feds?
So yes, and these are obligated funds currently. So they're already obligated and underway. It's just a proposed change to how Southeast Mass plans to spend
I understand
those obligated funds.
I understood that, but I just wanted to say that I am concerned because I have recently read about more than one contract elsewhere, not have anything to do with this, that it was obligated and it's not being funded. So I just don't want us to I want us to make sure we're all set. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board or questions at this time? Hearing none, could we have a motion for favorable action to this proposed amendment number 1 to the 2025 Unified Planning Work Program?
Well made.
Second, Fall River.
Thank you. Andrea, please call the roll.
Yeah. Mayor DeSimone, did you want to say something?
Oh,
Thank you.
no.
Just unmuted. Okay. All right. I'll call the roll. MassDOT Chair,
Yes.
Attleboro,
Yes.
thank you. Bell River,
Yes.
thank you. New Bedford,
Yes.
Taunton,
Yes.
MassDOT Administrator,
Yes.
SRPEDD Commission Chair,
Yes.
SRTA,
Yes.
Gatra.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Thank you so much. We're moving on now to the next agenda item, proposed administrative adjustment number 1 to the 25 to 29 tip. community transit grants, and SRTA. Lisa, go ahead.
Thanks, Derek. So, two parts to this proposed administrative adjustment. The first part is for community transit grants that were awarded. This was a line item in the STIP, but did not have specifics. So now we have the specifics, so we're adding those in. There were two projects for GATRA. One was for MedWheels, and the other was for Boston Hospital bus, which is going to run like 3 days a week. The second part of the proposed adjustment is for cost changes for SRTA projects. So the first one is for hardware and software updates. So there was a cost increase for that one. The second one, which is fare collection upgrades, there's actually a decrease in that one because some of that money is shifting to accommodate the cost increase for the hardware software. There is also cost increase for maintenance support equipment and for a replacement of a hybrid bus. Happy to take any questions, but we are asking that this body take a vote to endorse this adjustment.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any questions or comments from board members before we move on to a vote or motion? Okay, hearing and seeing none, could we please have a motion for favorable action to proposed administrative adjustment number 1 to the 25-29 tip?
Second, Fall River.
Thank you. Andrea, please call the roll.
MassDOT Chair,
Yes.
Attleboro,
Yes.
Fall River,
Yes.
New Bedford,
Yes.
Taunton,
Yes.
MassDOT Administrator,
Yes.
SRPEDD Commission Chair,
Yes.
SRTA,
Yes.
GATRA.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries.
Thank you, and congratulations to the Community Transit Grant Program recipients. Next on the agenda, we have the draft 26 to 30 tip MassDOT statewide highway projects list. Go ahead, Lisa.
Thank you. So I just wanted to mention that we are focusing on highway projects at this meeting. But next month, we will have our transit lists available. Our transit planner, I know, is working with both of our regional transit authorities and getting further detail, and those will be presented next month. So I just wanted to kind of start with the statewide funded project lists. These are for informational purposes. We do not need a vote or anything on these, but we wanted to bring this information to the group. The first column that you see here is federal fiscal year 26 to 30 tip proposed year. And the second column shows the year that it's currently programmed in the 25 to 29 tip. So I'm just going to briefly go over the changes that are happening between the two tips on specific projects and highlight those, but please feel free to review these lists at your leisure. They are in the SharePoint. I'll start in federal fiscal year 26 with Dighton and Rainham and Taunton. Both of these are bridge replacements. They are earmarks. The total cost of the projects currently exceed the earmark allocation. So moving forward and to remain fiscally constrained, additional funding sources are going to be needed to be identified to keep these projects in the tip and funded. We see two new projects in this year as well. Taunton Bridge Preservation, Plain Street Bridge over the Taunton River, as well as Freetown South Main Street over the Assonet River. Moving on to federal fiscal year 27, we have two projects that shifted from 26. Fall River Bridge Replacement, Jefferson Street over Sucker Brook, as well as the Freetown Bridge Replacement, Chase Road over Route 140. And then we have a project that was not currently programmed, Rainham, Taunton, and Norton, resurfacing and related work on Interstate 495. In federal fiscal year 28, we have two projects that were previously programmed in 27. Those are shifting out 1 year. Somerset intersection improvements at Route 6 and Lees River Ave, and Fall River Mary Fonseca Elementary Safe Routes to School project. And then in federal fiscal year 2030, we're seeing a couple of projects that are coming in from 29. They're pushed out 1 year. New Bedford Freetown pavement preservation and related work on Route 140, as well as Middleborough intersection improvements on Route 28 at Merchants Way and Williams Place. And we have a new project that was added, Fairhaven, New Bedford, interstate pavement preservation and related work on Interstate 195. So I'll just pause here for a quick second if anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Lisa. You're on a roll.
Okay.
All right. If there are no questions on the statewide highway projects list, we'll move on to the 26 to 2030 draft tip regional target highway project programming considerations preferred list. I believe this is Lisa as well. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah. So these were I just want to state that these were presented to our Joint Transportation Planning Group. And I'll talk a little bit more about their preferred scenario once we go through all of these. These were part of the handouts with the agenda. It may seem a little confusing, but we put together two different graphics. So internally, this first graphic here is what we visually like to work with because of the arrows, and we can see a clearer picture, but we understand that, it's not always consumable for everyone. So we did put together a quick summary that, a community can peruse quicker and kind of find where their project is and where it's going to end up. We did 3 scenarios. Our first scenario, which is scenario number 1, we call it TIP Readiness Days recommendations. So we started off by programming projects based on the recommendations from TIP Readiness Days. And at some point, of course, fiscal constraint came into play and we had to shift projects out, even though they could have ended up in that year that they were currently in. But starting in federal fiscal year 26, we pushed out the Westport project. In federal fiscal year 27, 2 projects were moved to 28, Mansfield, Chauncey Street, and Plainville reconstruction on South Street, which is Route 1A. In 2028, we pushed out the 2 projects that were currently programmed in that year, which was Mattapoisett corridor improvements and New Bedford corridor improvements as well on Tarkin Hill Road and Ashley Boulevard. And then in federal fiscal year 29, all of those projects got shifted out. Most of them ended up in 2030. Attleboro, unfortunately, due to the larger cost, was pushed out into the future element in this scenario. So based on those recommendations, you can see here the balances at the top. This is not ideal. We don't want to have, $14 million surplus in a year or $10 million in 1 year. So we're looking at other options for programming those projects. I'm going to pause real quickly on this summary sheet just so members can take a look at their projects and where they would end up based on this scenario. And then I'll move on to scenario 2.
Any questions for Lisa? All right, please continue, Lisa.
Thank you. So this is scenario 2. We started by looking at our priority projects, and what determines that is our evaluation criteria. So we started in federal fiscal year 26. And based on that, we pushed out 2 projects. We pushed out Norton and Westport, which we were already, considering pushing out due to readiness. With that being said, we ended up with a balance of $4.2 million. In the meantime, while these scenarios were being developed, we've seen some cost increases in projects that are currently programmed in federal fiscal year 25. What that means for one of our projects in particular is that we are going to advance construction of the project. It consumes over 50% of the target in federal fiscal year 25, and it is going to span more than one construction season. So some of that cost can be shifted into federal fiscal year 26. The amount that we cannot accommodate currently is approximately $724,000. So we'll be adding that in to federal fiscal year 26, which will decrease the current balance to a little bit under 3.5 million for that year. So either scenario 2 or scenario 3, whichever one we decide to go to, we will include that change once we come back to this board next month. In federal fiscal year 27, we would be pushing out 2 projects, New Bedford intersection improvements at Mount Pleasant Street at Nash, and Middleborough reconstruction and related work on Wareham Street at Wood Street. Once we get to federal fiscal year 28, that would necessitate us moving out the Mattapoisett corridor improvements on Main, Water Beacon, and Marion Road. And then in federal fiscal year 29, all of those projects, with the exception of Attleboro, which will remain in that year, would be pushed out to 2030. Once we got out to 2030, we still had a balance. We looked at our future element list, and based on priority and cost, of course, we would look to program Tanya intersection improvements at Winthrop Street, 44, and Highland Street in federal fiscal year 2030. I'm going to quickly go over to the summary and give you a few minutes to kind of take a look at that. Happy to take any questions, and then we can move on to scenario 3.
Thank you, Lisa. Is the project you were recommending for acing from 25 to 26 Lakeville, 606715?
Correct, Derek. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any raised hands. Please continue.
Thank you. So our scenario 3, what we took into consideration was maximizing regional target. What can we fit in? Taking into consideration that we may see some cost increases and we want to accommodate for that primarily, in 26 and 27, but also programming as many projects as we can to keep the ball rolling here. So, but similar to scenario 2 in federal fiscal year 26, we would see Norton and Westport be pushed out 1 year into 27. In federal fiscal year 27, Mansfield, Chauncey Street would be pushed out, as well as Middleborough reconstruction related work on Wareham and Wood Street. And in 2028, the Mattapoisett corridor improvement projects, that would be pushed out to 29. Once again, in federal fiscal year 29, we would see a shift in 4 out of those 5 projects. Attleboro would remain in 29. The remainder would be shifted into 2030. And then in 2030, we would pick up the Rainham intersection improvements at North Main, Pleasant, South Main, and Orchard Street. And that would be to maximize the spending amount in that year. I'll pause here on the summary, and then I'll just give you a brief overview of our JTPG consensus.
Doesn't look like there's any questions at this.
I
Go
have
ahead.
a question. I'm
Please,
Dana
Dana.
from Congressman Jake Auchincloss's office. It's more a comment. I'm noticing on these regional target project funding projections that the Congressman's 2 CPF projects of the Dighton Bridge replacement and the Raynham-Taunton Bridge reconstruction projects that were on the draft FY 26 to 30 tip. And Lisa expressed that we need to identify funding to sort of close gaps there. Just noticing that these are not included on the regional target projects lists. And I would be remiss if I didn't bring it to this group that those CPF community project funding grants have a deadline obligation date of September 30th, 2026. So these are projects that our office is tracking very closely. We will be in further communication with MassDOT and SRPEDD on it. And I just wanted to make the group aware that it's a big priority for us. And I do have a ever lingering question mark over my head about how we can ensure that those federal funds don't get lost because we can't meet an obligation date. So thanks. I just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. I'll add for you and the congressman that MassDOT Office of Transportation Planning has been tracking this with Southeast Mass MPO staff as well. And if you'd like, Derek Cravat is now the Municipal Grants Engagement Manager at MassDOT OTP and is actually coordinating directly for those two projects if you'd like to follow up with him and me.
Amazing, Al.
Yep.
And Derek has heard from me before, during, and after. So I will follow up with both Derek's. Thank you.
Yep. We're still working with MPO staff on how to reflect that funding balance now that we have a revised TFPC for the project. Thank you for your comment. If there are no other comments at this time, Lisa, let's hear what the JTPG had to say.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just go back to scenario 2. So there was, much discussion on project readiness and programming of projects. We did hear from Westport that, they did ask to remain in federal fiscal year 26. We did say we'd go back and look at the project schedule. We do have some concerns that the project would not be ready. So, our strong recommendation is to push that project out to 27. If it stays in 26 and it's not ready, then it causes more of an issue for us in the end. And the JTPG did vote to recommend scenario 2 of the SMMPO for consideration of taking a vote as well, so that we may begin to develop our 26 to 30 tip. And they felt that the project prioritization was the best scenario to move forward with. So we are asking this body to take a vote today. Please keep in mind there still may be changes forthcoming, as we heard the Lakeville project. If there are any other cost increases, we will reflect those the next time we meet. But we are looking for a preferred list so we can start developing the tip.
Thank you, Lisa. Do any board members have any comments or thoughts on the scenarios as presented by Lisa or a preferred scenario? Please. So is there a scenario, Lisa, that 2026 possesses enough regional target balance in order to fund the 2 earmark projects as raised on the statewide projects list and that Dana raised a question about?
Yeah, so I can speak to that briefly. We are aware that the Taunton-Rainham project will go up again once the 25% design is submitted. I think we're, a little hesitant to program those currently right now. We do still have concerns that the projects that are in that year may also see cost increases. And we would want to accommodate those have they been going through the TIP process and are in that fiscal year. I think until we have final costs on projects, it's hard to say what we could accommodate in federal fiscal year 26.
So thank you for that. So I think that MPO staff require some direction from MPO board members in that scenario if regional target funding should favor or prioritize, those gaps on those earmark projects that Dana had raised as well, or if it should be preserved for anticipated cost increases on your preferred scenarios, year 1 projects. Do any MPO board members, maybe from the municipalities that have year 1 projects, have anything to say, like as far as how comfortable you feel about those TFPCs, the anticipated cost for the projects and what we're tentatively programming? Okay. Well, I believe we need a motion for a preferred tip scenario for MPO staff uh to go to the mattresses, so to speak, for developing their 26 to 30 draft tip for the Southeast Mass region. So do we have a motion at this time for which scenario?
New
Make a
Bedford,
motion for scenario 2.
second, New Bedford.
Okay. Do we have any comments before taking a vote on scenario 2 as presented? All right, hearing none. Andrea, please call the roll.
MassDOT Chair,
Yes.
Attleboro,
Yes.
Fall River,
Yes.
New Bedford,
Yes.
Taunton,
Yes.
MassDOT Administrator,
Yes.
SRPEDD Commission Chair,
Yes.
SRTA,
Yes.
and GATRA.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries as well.
All right, thank you, Andrea. And thank you, Lisa, for presenting the draft scenarios. Next item on today's agenda is a Vision Zero resolution. Materials attached and a roll call needed to adopt. Who's presenting on this? Jackie. Go ahead, Jackie.
Thank you. So, we've talked a lot about our Safe Streets and Roads for All safety action plan that we've been developing over the past year. As we near the finish line for that project, we thought the timing would be good to propose a Vision Zero resolution for the SMMPO. This type of resolution by an MPO is a requirement for the plan as part of the program and as the grant that we received. But it's also a good way to show our commitment to reducing fatal and serious injuries in the region. For a long time, this body and the JTPG has shown a preference for prioritizing projects that address safety and through the TIP and also through our other efforts. Safety has always been a large focus. So this resolution just affirms that commitment. It will also help demonstrate our commitment to contributing to our statewide safety performance measures that this body has chosen to support and adopt yearly. I will read the text of the resolution into the record, and it's also should be up on the screen. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. I apologize for the length of this reading, but we really want to make sure that we are getting it into the record. Southeastern Metropolitan Planning Organization, Vision Zero Resolution. The Southeastern Massachusetts Metropolitan Planning Organization, SMMPO, is the body responsible for providing the continuing, cooperative, and comprehensive planning process for the 27 communities in the Southeastern Massachusetts region. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, USDOT, traffic crashes are a leading cause of death and a public health crisis, responsible for over 40,000 fatalities on United States roadways each year. Further, according to the Governor's Highway Safety Association 2022 pedestrian traffic fatalities by state report, pedestrian deaths increased by 77%, while other traffic fatalities increased by 25% from 2010 to 2021 nationwide. Locally, the SMMPO region experienced 87,586 vehicle crashes between 2019 and 2023. 1,023 of these involved pedestrians, of which 3.7% were fatalities and 79.4% resulted in injuries. Vision Zero is driven by the principle that there is no acceptable number of traffic fatalities and serious injuries on our roadway. The SMMPO recognizes that traffic deaths and serious injuries on our roadways are not inevitable. And this Vision Zero resolution sets forth a goal of reducing fatal and serious injury crashes by 35% by the year 2040 and increasing safe mobility for all road users, working towards the ultimate long-term goal of zero fatal and serious injury crashes. The SMMPO further recognizes that underrepresented populations, including communities with higher populations of minority, low-income, limited English proficient, and 65-plus-year-old individuals have historically experienced disproportionate fatalities, injuries, and risk due to traffic hazards. The SMMPO will join other leading cities, counties, regions, and states around the nation and around the world in a commitment to eliminate traffic deaths and severe injuries, work which has demonstrated success when coupled with adequate funding, staff resources, and top-down support for its implementation. The communities of southeastern Massachusetts are united around the common goal to increase roadway safety and eliminate injury and death on our streets at a foundational level. Together, we can ensure safe travel for the region's most vulnerable road users. And then the second page reads, therefore, be it resolved by the MPO, the SMMPO adopts the Vision Zero strategy as a comprehensive and holistic approach to eliminating traffic fatalities and severe injuries. The SMMPO will support the development and implementation of a regional safety action plan to achieve the elimination of roadway fatalities and serious injuries based upon a baseline analysis of existing fatalities and serious injuries, identification of a high injury network, safety needs assessment, equity impact analysis, and strategies and project prioritization. The SMMPO will engage and support the 27 communities in southeastern Massachusetts in the development and implementation of the Vision Zero action plan. The SMMPO directs staff to provide an annual summary on the implementation of the Regional Safety Action Plan, inclusive of data showing the number of traffic fatalities, severe injuries, and other collisions to actively track the region's performance. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. And thank you for bearing with me through that very long reading. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jackie. I actually have a question on the first page. I think it was the end of the first paragraph, second paragraph. The 79.4% resulted in injuries of pedestrian crashes. Is that serious injuries or just all categories of injury?
You know, that's an excellent question. I didn't pull those numbers together myself. So I will ask that question and get back to you. I believe it is all injuries.
Okay. Just because I saw there was reference to serious injury, which I know might be encompassing of incapacitating injury and serious, and there's different degrees. So, if unless that needs any clarification, I just wanted to check. Were there any questions from board members or the public on this resolution? Okay, and this resolution, is this to be included in a 3C documentation or live on the MPO website? And what's the goal?
It will definitely live on the MPO. It will be part of the Regional Safety Action Plan. As far as other documents, I'm not sure. We'll likely include it in the Regional Transportation Plan, and it will be noted in the tip as well.
All right. Thank you, Jackie. If there's no further questions, could we please have a motion and second for favorable action to adopt the Vision Zero resolution as presented by Jackie today?
Taking the basic stuff that we
already
incorporated.
Second time.
Kind of boiling that down.
All right. Andrea, please call the roll.
Mascot Chair?
Yes.
Attleboro?
Yes.
Fall River?
Yes.
New Bedford?
Yes.
Taunton?
Yes.
Mascot Administrator?
Yes.
SRPEDD Commission Chair?
Yes.
SRTA?
Yes.
Gatra?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes.
Thank you so much. All right. Next item on the agenda is other business. Do staff or board members have any other business to present at this time?
I just want to remind members that the open meeting law provision has passed the House, but currently in the Senate. So we are hoping that will pass quickly, but in the case it doesn't, we would need to host a hybrid meeting with a quorum present at the location of the meeting, which would be the SRPEDD office. We would need 7 members. So we will I think, Derek, maybe we state that it'll be a hybrid meeting for now, and then once we hear hopefully that it has passed, we will update the members and provide for remote access for everyone.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any questions from board members about the open meeting law? Okay, and just as a reminder, for item 12, what is the date and time for the next MPO meeting?
April 15th at 1 p.m.
Okay. And so that we'll tentatively be planning to at least have a quorum present April 15th at 1 p.m. at 88 Broadway in Taunton. Is there any other business at this time? Hearing none, could I please have a motion and second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Beth.
All right, thank you. Without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you so much, and everyone have an excellent rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.